Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the midst of Game 2, G2 versus the Unicorns of Love, and it is a tense moment to come right back into the action. Talk about pausing right when it's about to blow up.
Yep. Right now, the Unicorns are looking to siege down onto the mid-tier 1. And it looks like that both teams are ready back up. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for the pause, but we are getting back into the game. And I think it's going to be quite some serious action. I hope you're ready, Pyra.
I think I am. Oh, we transfer right in. It's Exile getting jumped on. Exhaust is there, but Trick comes tagging in to finish the job, and he hops, skips, and jumps his way to a quick double kill. G2 were ready for that one.
It looks like G2, they were more than ready to fight back to Unicorns as they tried to siege into the mid-tier 1. They're now looking to get themselves a tier 1 in return.
They're going to be able to knock that one down, no problem. In fact, they even take their time about it to clear some vision. It's 21.5 minutes. Are they going to attempt this Baron right here? Looks like it.
There's no Gangplank ultimate. This should be relatively safe with only Xerxes around to potentially steal. He doesn't even have Smite available.
Yeah, already burned it down to 6,500 here. Let's see if G2 are looking to turn on. Mithy was actually waiting outside of the pit. Perkz does get Bolus struck up for just a second. Plants on Chachi. In comes Xerxes looking for Mithy. Exhaust is down. Chachi gets the kill on Mithy. They peel from Baron, and Xerxes eliminated right back at it again. Sven even tanking the Baron to keep it alive. He heals on up, and with no one left, or is it? It's Hylissang looking to give them some trouble. Chachi's still there. Not gonna happen. Smite available, and Trick uses it.
Looks like the Trick may be caught out, though. He might be the sacrificial lamb.
Looks like that's the case. Tried to shut down Chachi in the process, but nothing doing. What a hectic series right there. 22 minutes now. It's 9-13 in kills, and the Baron's on G2 Esports.
As you said, Pyra, the Baron goes in favor of G2. Yes, they will lose this tier 1 mid tower, but they are the overall benefactors of this exchange. And we have to backtrack a lot because a lot of this started with the Unicorns trying to siege onto the mid lane tower. They used the Gangplank ultimate to force a dive to punish the low mobility on both Sven and Mithy. But the response from G2 was just explosive. You saw Sven coming out, or Perkz even, coming out from the flank, getting a very quick shutdown onto Hylissang, and being able to quickly collapse with Trick by his side. This double assassin duo being able to just shred through the Unicorns lineup opened up for them to quickly move over to get themselves the big purple worm.
Yeah. They did give up a couple of kills for it, though, but they now have map control, able to finally knock down the last of the towers. Let's take a look at how it all started once again.
And the decision-making from the Unicorns is fine, right? They just don't have adequate vision on the flank, and they don't respect the amount of damage that Perkz is able to output. Trick hits them from another angle, and it's this two-pronged attack that we saw from G2 in Game 1. It is so effective when you catch the enemy team by surprise by attacking them from multiple different angles that they don't entirely know how to respond, and this is the team fighting that G2 have been praised for in the past. All they have to do now is keep the rest of the Unicorns of Love away from the Baron, but then they just don't entirely respect the amount of damage that Unicorns is able to throw out. They are able to get themselves the Baron in the end, but this isn't quite the cleanest take that G2 would have liked.
Yep, G2 forced a little bit in to a tense situation by Chachi Hylissang. Still able to get a few kills, and then Trick was, of course, left for dead, but it was requiring use of one exhaust, and Chachi nearly went down on the back of it. So as we get back into regular game time, it's 24 minutes. G2, they've got 4 towers to their name, and they're looking to get the good old 1-3-1 on. Perkz, huge on this Zed right now, dodged out by Exile. He takes a tower shot on the return. Still, they're gonna have to respect how much push this G2 squad can really put out for the time being.
And you're really going to see the power of this Zed now that we are into the mid game. He has completed 2 major items. Expect striking a little bit against the Gangplank.
Didn't nail the taunt. Sven's there, though, with a hail of arrows. Keeps on pushing. Down towards the bottom side. Chachi's going to try to clear these minions away with the Baron Empowerment. They'll still get some damage on before he can make it happen. And Perkz is looking to go all in on to Exile. Not enough damage on the back half of it. Gets turned into a Munchkin as well, but the wild growth was there from Hylissang to keep him healthy.
Perkz just about missing his shurikens, or Exile sidestepping them. Regardless, the damage wasn't there.
Calculated.
And the support from Hylissang was more than enough to deter the continued dive from G2. But Perkz is still relatively healthy. They could continue their push in the top side of the map.
Keep doing it on the bottom, but Sven is going to get pushed back for just a second, forced to flash away, and now the curtain call opens on him. He dodges one. The second can't do it, and Xerxes jumps on his head to finish the kill. 3rd for the Rengar this game. Meanwhile, Trick is up top, continuing to push with the minions. Hylissang's coming here to push him back. Goes invis, instantly munchkined. as he has to hop out, tanking tower shots left and right.
The kitty cat came for blood, and he was able to get a kill down onto Sven down in the bottom lane. Again, just slight overextensions coming out from G2. Perks trying to force Exile back without really utilizing the pressure game. Like, G2 have pushing lanes in top, mid, and bot. They have a fantastic global with Shen. And what you should be seeing from G2 is playing towards the strong side of the map. So you invest a lot of your vision to where the Zed is, you play around objectives that the Zed is close to, and you have the Shen off in a side lane where he can just join the fray. But look at the map right now. Trick is in the top lane, the Dragon is live, Shen is in the mid, Sven was dead and he had to go back. This is not the proper setup that you should be utilizing the Baron with, and now the Baron's gone. Now that window that G2 had to try and take more objectives and better push into the base of the Unicorns has effectively been wasted.
So maybe not the most effective use of the Baron buff for G2 Esports. Nonetheless, they're still doing a great job scaring the pants off the Unicorns of Love, taking themselves an Ocean Drake. Perks had also stolen away that red buff too from Xerxes, so he's got to be a little frustrated by that right now. And Perks has just had, honestly, a great series for himself. First on the Rise and now on the Zed. There's still a window. And when it closes, it's going to be easier for Unicorns to try and counterplay that one. For the time being, no one can really go toe-to-toe with the Ninja.
It's going to be very difficult, especially when you have no exhaust available. You can see, like, Sven and Mithy are here, right? But the best they can hope for is for Shen to TP in and try and provide some assistance. But all four members of the Unicorns in the bottom half of the map. And it's like, G2 can't punish anything else anywhere else on the map because they're not in a position to do so. And this is the second time now we've seen Sven being out of position.
And Mithy as well, he has to blow his flash. We've seen this so many times. They drop the cannon barrage, but all of a sudden, Samex gets jumped on by Perks, isolated from the rest, but it's Trick that finishes the job. No, Perks gets the kill credit. Shut down, though, onto him. It's an 80 carry for mid, and Trick finds Xerxes, and that's a double kill now as Exile sends one more rocket flying. Visit Chachi right inside the Stranglethorns. Bola sidestep by Mithy. Expecting Sven are there. And it ends up being the 1 for 2. It's Unicorn's favor.
I'm not entirely sure what G2's trying to force right now because they have a fantastic 1-3-1 composition and they're looking for a 5v fight mid. Like, okay, Mithy, he's out of position, he gets caught out, and it's really good to see Unicorns again punishing the overextension or the oversteps coming out from G2. But then you have a Zed, you have a Shen. The punishment from G2 should be to take a side lane tower. It should be to utilize the side waves that the Unicorns of Love have no control over. And they're not able to do that. Instead, they try and force a play on mid. It's very difficult for Perks to get out of this situation because of the polymorph coming out from Hylissang, and that's why you're starting to see the value or the real difficulty that Zed has when you play up against the Lulu, and why there were question marks around whether or not it was safe to blind pick the Zed. I just feel like G2, that the communication, the coordination right now from them is not what we would expect from a top team in Europe.
Yeah, it definitely seems like since the pause, things have been a little bit wonky for this side, and Perks, you know, not only gives his life, but he gives shutdown gold over to Exile, who's gotten a huge infusion now. Sterak's Gauge is going to make it harder for him to go down in these fights, and Unicorns, they still have been pushed back a little bit, but they can be playing with a bit more confidence, and later and later the game goes, their spike is going to hit pretty hard. We've already seen them combo up well. Let's see what they can do the later the game. Keeps on pushing. Chachi scared Trick away in the mid. This Unicorn's trying to siege out. They've got themselves 2 towers, would still be looking to fire down the one in bottom, but Expect is there to keep the wave pushed back.
Thing is, if you're the Unicorns now, what you need to do is just group mid and push, because you can punish Sven so easily.
Once again, it's a broken record, I feel like, in this game. Exile gets the kill credit for it, but they just open up the classic combo, and they take down an inner tower. Perks might be top. You've got Expect on bottom, but G2, they just did not see this one coming. The base is broken open.
The thing is, Unicorns of Love, they have a minion wave. Perks is still top, hasn't gone back. Unicorns, they're going to just walk away with an inhibitor. And if you're the Unicorns, this is exactly how you want to play, because you know that Sven and Mithy are not enough wave clear to stop the 4 or 5 man push in mid. You have the Gangplank ultimate to dissuade any side lane pressure as well. The Unicorns of Love doing a great job of punishing the composition from G2.
Strange stuff from G2 Esports right now. Perks did not actually back. He stuck it around in this tri-brush, looking to see if he can find a pick off, but Unicorns are stacking pretty thick right now. Big wave pushing against Unicorns in the bottom. It finally gets finished off by the minions, but that is small potatoes compared to getting an inhibitor at 30 minutes into this game. Unicorns love finding the holes in G2's armor.
Thing is, I feel like G2 right now, their only option is to try and force a 5v5 fight. They have good control over this Baron, but I'd be surprised if Unicorns didn't smell this one out.
Sven's not even there right now, and Unicorns know it, so G2, they actually have to back off as they clear some vision away. Once again, Unicorns, they're throwing their weight into the mid lane. Stacking his 5, it's gonna be a lot harder for Perks to get in there and assassinate a single target.
Yep. And that's the key thing, right? Because Unicorns, they don't have to play the side lane game. They have Gangplank to clear out the waves. They know that they can force a fight mid, so this is forcing G2 to group now. You can still send Expect off to a side lane, but we need to see this Ninja Surprise work out, because the best scenario for G2 is to have Zed and Shen dive onto Samex and shut him out of the fight immediately. Whereas Unicorns, if they can just force a fight right now, this could be the point at which they take control over the game.
Well, they're onto the Baron right now. Expect and Trick are scrambling, but they step into a couple of Jhin traps here. Expect looking to come in, but the Baron is low. Trick can come around, but the Baron's not low enough yet to finish the job. Chachi taken, almost down to 0. Perks is trying to blow him up. Expect was on, and that's a shutdown. No more Gangplank for this fight, and they use the Stranglethorns to cover the G2 escape. Baron is reset completely.
Unicorns try to force the Baron because they know that G2 don't want a full 5-on-5, but it is actually G2 that are able to come out ahead, simply because Expect did a great job of being the martyr as now Unicorns re-engage.
Oh my goodness, Perks was taken low, but the heal kept him alive for now. It is blinking health bars for G2 Esports, but Unicorns, they hold their nerve. Teleport now out of Expect as he's coming back into the fight. Exile might be taken out. A piercing arrow hits him. Shurikens won't though. He steps forward, he vouched back, trying to stay alive, but no, shut down by Sven. And now Xerxes on the run. G2 pushing Unicorns around the map here. Xerxes running to the wrong base.
And look at the mid lane. There are still super minions walking their way into the base of G2. Unicorns, they are just trying to buy time to dissuade G2 from even considering the Baron right now. Look how tanky Xerxes is. He might even be able to get an execute right now.
Oh man, one more shot he gets it. This game has gotten weird, Vedius.
It's a conflict of interests, right? Because G2, they want to play 1-3-1. Unicorns don't. They want to fight. The best way for Unicorns to force a fight is to play around the Baron, but the problem is the Baron does a lot of damage, and when you're grouped up in an isolated situation like this, it actually becomes much easier for G2 to get the fight that they want. Now that they know that the death time is still pretty high for Xerxes, they're actually going to rush the Baron and utilize the numbers advantage that they have.
There'd be no steal attempt with Xerxes not able to get anything done, but Sven gets chunked a little bit by the Cannon Barrage. Curtain call open, looking for Sven, looking for Mythy. Perks just wandering around the side. Baron's still getting taken down, and Mythy nearly gets blown up. But G2 get themselves that Baron, and now they got to go back and clean up the minions on base.
But now G2 can better utilize the 1-3-1 comp that they've been trying to set up. You can see Mythy.
That was almost a deadly redemption.
That is the potency of the new plants in the river, giving you all that bonus health. Good guy plants, helping other plants survive and continue. But still, G2, they get themselves the Baron. That's the main goal that they wanted. And the Unicorns of Blood, it's going to be much harder for them to fight right now, because if you look at it, Baron-empowered minions in the side wave, they're going to knock down those towers so much quicker than they would before. Perks and Chachi are going to cross paths. Perks has no idea.
Steps right into the Pirate. Oh, and in comes Pillising. He goes all in. Perks gets blown down to 0. It's Xerxes that gets kill credit for that one, and then Unicorns will finally get themselves an outer turret down bot, so another death for Perks.
I have nothing but criticisms for Perks right now. Look at the minimap. There is 0 vision for G2 in the bottom half of the map. The rest of G2 were in their base, either buying items or clearing out the super minions, and there was no need for Perks to be that far out in the bottom lane. If you start that push early on, you're not even going to be able to properly set up with the rest of your team, and that was just a big mistake from Perks, which is now going to give Unicorns of Love not only a dragon, but it's going to make their answer to the 1-3-1 much better, because now Perks, he won't have the Baron buff. He won't be able to set up in a side lane as effectively as he would have prior.
Yeah, there's still the dead inhibitor down mid. And, yeah, Perks, he's been getting used to the Ninja Party, but he was the one who was surprised by the Unicorns down in the bot. Let's take a look at how this Baron all started again that went G2's way eventually.
So, Expect does a great job, not only landing the taunt onto Samex, but just keeping all 5 members preoccupied while the Baron was still doing damage. Perks then had a lot of freedom to come in from the side. He didn't take much damage initially, and with a 5 versus 4 setup, G2 are already in a more advantageous position, so that when the Unicorns try to get the re-engage onto Perks, they just don't really have the damage output or the confidence to commit to that fight. So they end up getting forced back, and they end up getting the collapsed on because Shen has the TP and he can rejoin the fray.
Yeah, I think you know the rest of it here. Exile took a while for him to die. Two-stepping just about everything he could, but he couldn't stop the arrow of Sven. And Xerxes bought so much time with that the minions were marching into the base. He can't believe he got the execute.
Yeah. Rengar, man. Pretty tanky.
Yeah. When you build him that way, for sure. In the mid, Unicorn's still pushing the line, but the inhibitor's back up right now. G2, they're the ones that have had the dragons this game, but it has been all clouds and oceans. Nothing else to be seen.
And look at the setup from G2. They've actually kept Trick in the mid lane to just clear out the wave. They know they have Baron on Sven, so they want to move him to the top side to try and put pressure onto this tower, which is pretty low, so they should be able to pick this one up with relative ease. What G2 have to be careful of is the possible collapse.
They don't want to fight, as you said, trying to make the 1-3-1 happen, but Trick is looking to come around the side. He hops, just sends the Void Spikes, and that is going to force Exile to package Valak back into the base. Unicorn should have enough to push this back, but Trick is really trying to push the line. It's Samix. Once again, the all-in from Perkz happens, but he gets exhausted, and Samix is going to live through it by the skin of his teeth, and a lot of help from Hylissang. Tower taken out in the top, and Chachi is going to get hopped on by Trick. Exhaust comes just a smidgen too late. Spect is going to tank the rest of this up. G2 forced their way into the space. They're looking to make it 2 for 0. Samix gets interrupted. Expect with a killing spree of his own, and the Unicorns are collapsing. Nothing left for them to do.
Coming out with a number of kills. They still have the Baron available. Sven picks up another one, and they are looking to end the game right now.
That's the ace. It's 37 minutes, and G2, they're the ones inside the base of the Unicorns. Nothing left for them to do. It looked like they might be able to fire back, but at the end of the day, it is G2-0 on the board. They will advance for a semi-final showdown against the Rux Tigers. Well-earned victory for this team. It looked tense. There were some critical moments. With the last of the Baron buff ticking, they managed to move their way into the Unicorn's base and get the ace for the win.
And I think praise still needs to be given to the Unicorns because they did a fantastic job of punishing these small mistakes coming out from G2. Every time Sven was just slightly too far away from his turret, even when he was under his turret, Unicorns have recognized he doesn't have the support that he needs, let's go for a dive. The problem that they really struggled with was that the fact that Perkz was hyper-fed. He was very strong, he was so difficult to deal with in teamfights, and even if they shut him down, Perkz almost always walked away with a kill, or at the very least he did so much damage that that person was effectively out of the fight anyway. So a lot of it comes back to that early game play, but then we also have to look at the Baron. Unicorns, they try to force that fight around the Baron. It didn't quite go the way that they had initially anticipated. And while you think, okay, great, Cersei's buying time, he's also giving away his life, and he's the only smite on the team, right? So it becomes even harder to steal away that Baron buff. So G2, they did play calm and calculated, but it was nice to see that the Unicorns did not give up without a fight.
No, they certainly didn't. In the end, it wasn't enough to find a single victory in the series, but it looked close for both of those games. Mistakes from both sides. G2, I feel like they've definitely learned a lot from this victory. It played out differently than what we saw from them a week ago in the European LCS.
But now I'm evaluating how the European squads are going to be doing up into the semifinals. Because you have to consider, if you think the Unicorns are good at punishing your slide oversteps, well, the Rux Tigers are a team that will do the same, and they will net much more significant advantages off the back of it.
Well, I guess we'll find out. We'll hear from the winners on stage. OJ, take it away.
Indeed, I am with Perkz right now. That was a crazy second game.
Yeah, it was crazy. 2 games, honestly. Yeah, it was just really crazy. I think we got a bit lost in second game because they had GP, Jhin, this stuff that just goes mid and ends. So I was supposed to be on silent, but every time I went on silent, they would just ult mid and kill my team. So I was really stressed out in the game. Actually, at 25 minutes something, I was really, I don't know what to do now, because I can't be on silent because they can just go on me and they can all collapse on me, and we can't be mid, so we had to just go mid and fight, which we realized a bit later, and in the end we just outclowned the clown game. So
it was a crazy backwards and forwards. Let's talk about your pick, Zed. That was a ballsy move.
Well, I wanted to play Zed for so long already, and today I finally got the chance because we had a Shen, and they picked somewhat squishy champs, so Rengar GP are off tanks, and Lulu is a supportive tank. So it's not full squishy, but it was a good pick, I think. and I was really nervous because Zed is like my signature champion, so I didn't want to like play bad on it. And even though I think I could have played like 2 times better, but I still played like good enough. So.
Now, you played the Unicorns last week in the LCS. You won that 2-0. You played them here today on the world stage. You beat them 2-0. Is this performance that makes people around the world see that G2 can perform on the big international stage?
Well, hopefully it is. I think our wins with the Unicorns were still like kind of messy. We only had like 1 really clean win out of 4 games. And it's always like when you play against Unicorns, it's a test to see how good of a team you are. And we are still failing it because we are not able to close out the games with the simple leads we have. So we have to like work on our mid game and respecting opponents more, or like not respecting opponents more, like respecting their plays, because Unicorns is like really good at making constant plays, hitting you all the time. So we have to work more for reset phases, etc. And I think we are on a good way to becoming a top tier team.
Well, you are on the way. Rox Tigers are up next. They've been steamrolling. They've looked very, very good. How confident are you as a team? How at ease are you as a team that you can beat them?
I don't know. Rox Tigers are a Korean team, man, so it's going to be really hard. Koreans are really insane. So, but I am confident that we can beat them. Yeah.
How confident?
We will beat them.
We will beat them. I love it. Thank you very much, Perks. Thank you very much to G2 Esports, who go through to the semi-finals here tomorrow. Let's hand it back to the experts desk after a break.